Hello everyone, a very good evening. Hello everybody, very good evening. Welcome to the class. Okay, first thing to ask, do you all hear me clearly? Is the audio clear enough? Please do confirm through the chat box. Yes, okay. Alpesh, thank you so much for confirming first. And guys, how many of you are new to my class? Have you attended my classes before or maybe webinars before? Have you? No? Okay then, if you are new to my class, hearty welcome and let me introduce myself before we could begin with the class. Okay, so you're talking to Dr. Nazma. I'm chemistry expert at Vedantu, have been teaching chemistry from past 7.5 years and especially trained the students of class 10 CBSE, ICSE, 11th, 12th, JE and also NEET. Well guys, I was a researcher before I could become a teacher and I'm sure you all know why are we here today. You do, right? Yeah, we are going to talk about how to write your CBSE board exams so that you score 80 on 80 in science, especially out in chemistry. Okay, and the reason that I have picked up this image is especially for those students who still have many questions about maybe last minute preparation, presentation in exams and all of that. So in today's class, we'll be talking about the tips that has to be followed during your exam and also about those last minute preparation tips. Now you tell me, do you have any questions related to these two aspects? Yeah. And if you're planning to talk about the important topics of chemistry, I already have made a video related to that. You can watch that video. And if you're planning to talk about what books should I be referring, I'll clarify your doubts probably at the end of this class. Yeah. Right. Shall we all begin then? With the tips that you have to follow during exams and also just before exams so that you score amazingly well in your science board class 10 CBSE, right? Yes, and hi to everybody, whoever is saying hi in the chat box, a big hi to everybody. Well guys, before we could begin, just answer one question to me. I'm very curious to know this. How is your preparation going on? Rate yourselves in your preparation, entire preparation. How much portions are you done with? 90%, 80%, 60, 70? I don't want to hear below that. Yeah? Where do you stand exactly in your preparation? Preparation going great? Not very good? Arre, Amit, what happened? Not good. Sri Lakshmi going well. Nimar going great. Okay. 70%, 92, hello Sahitya, 50%, 40%, very humble, is it? 50, 40, 175, okay, that looks good. And now you tell me something, out of these results, I'm clear that you still lack that gap. Okay, anyways, that's fine. What about chemistry preparation? Are you done with NCERT completely and have you covered all those 5 important topics that I told you in the last class? Yeah, actually 6 important topics we have covered. Have you covered all of them? You have, right? Okay, that's great. So please make sure you don't miss on those topics. And now today's class is like after you are done with your preparation, after you have completed all those important topics from chemistry syllabus, later what you have to do. Okay, so now assume that you just have 10 days for your final exams, especially science exam. You just have 10 days. What should you be doing in these 10 days and how should you be planning your revision, especially chemistry revision in these 10 days? And also what tips should you apply during your exams so that you rock in your exams? Okay, done. So fine, let us talk about the last 10 days wala preparation first. Done? Fine. So honestly answer one thing. Have you made those short notes which I have told you to do so? But there are so many new students today. Let me ask you this way. Do you have short notes for every chapter of chemistry? The short notes for every chapter of chemistry? Yeah? Short notes for chemical reactions and equations, acids, bases and salts, metals and non-metals, carbon and also periodic classification. Yes, ETDS consultancy, I guess. Okay, very nice. Very good. Jane have prepared it. Nimar have prepared it. Sri Lakshmi, Sahitya, very good. Those who have prepared it, you are just rocking. Please make sure you revise those short notes of chapter on everyday basis. Other than your actual revision, make sure you constantly revise them every day. And those who do not have it, please listen to what short notes is. This is a very crisp notes of every chapter in chemistry, which includes all those extremely important points from the chapter. Say if you are talking about carbon and its compounds, all those topics of carbon and its compounds from which questions have appeared in the last years. And now if you ask me, ma'am, how do we know which topics are important? There are 2 videos done related to this. Please refer to the videos which I have released previously. Yeah. So like catenation, tetravalency, allotropy, IUPAC naming, soaps and detergents, ethanol, ethanoic acid. Look, so many important topics. You should have crisp notes of all those important topics at the end. And this crisp notes will 200% help you for that last minute revision. Yeah. And other than that crisp notes, how many of you do have that summary sheets? You have summary sheets given by your schools. Maybe you must have made on your own, right? The summary sheet of the chapter. Make sure you revise the summary sheets also. The last 10 days should be about less conceptual revision and more practice. Do you have enough number of practice questions with you? Especially from chemistry. If you have noticed the previous year examination papers, do you remember those story-based questions? There was a blue colored salt which is taken in boiling tube and it was heated for some long and the color changed. This is a statement and they'll ask you some 2-3 questions based on this, isn't it? If you want to be able to answer that kind of questions, practice more and more and more. You should be able to practice at least 50 questions for every one chemistry chapter. For every chapter, you should practice how many? At least 50 questions. Okay, that's when you'll get that confidence. CBSE board exams, especially chemistry exams, are about understanding how much did you understand the concepts. It's not about, to check how much did you mug up and if you're by-hearting and mugging up, it's not going to help you. Make sure you practice more and more questions, many and many times, not once. Practice it for 3-4 times. Then what happens? You will acquire that confidence of being able to answer all the questions, right? Done. And now the ones who are talking about from where do we get 50 sample questions or 50 practice questions. I'll tell you something. Have you practiced all those NCERT in-text questions, exercise questions, past 10-year papers, sample papers and guest questions given by your school teachers? Have you? And especially in the sprint videos of Vedantu, I also have given practice sheets for metals and non-metals and some other chapter. Yeah. So make sure you please take up these all sources. This will help you to acquire more than 50 practice questions. Done. Followed by you're practicing practice questions, you're revising from the crisp short notes, from the summaries, and you're also pointing out the previous year questions, like you're also identifying the most repeated previous year questions and practicing in the last 10 days. And I'm talking about chemistry. Apply this to chemistry, okay? Followed by, you just have your exam today. What all you should keep in mind? What all you should keep in mind so that you rock your exams? Please do not refer to multiple books just before 1 or 2 days of exam. S. Chand, NCERT, and some of you will be referring to maybe Pradeep, that, this and all of that. Don't confuse yourselves. Don't confuse yourself with multiple books the day of your exam or just before the day of your exam. Relax and focus on NCERT. Okay? As you approach towards your examination date, learn to focus on NCERT. I'll tell you a simple logic. Whatever you refer, wherever you go, from where your questions have to be designed in the paper, the panel which is designing the question papers for your exams picks up the questions from NCERT, yes or no? So please make sure you focus on NCERT. Every single question. Those activity-based silly questions that are there in NCERT, sometimes the questions sound a little funny, right? Every single question has to be learned. Fine. After that, you are in examination hall. Then what you got to do? How many of you read question paper 2 times before you could begin with the exam? Can you tell me this? How many of you read the question paper twice before you start your exam? Twice, I'm talking twice. Okay, Sahitya, Oh, nice. Jatin, Neemar, Sri Lakshmi. What about others? I just read only one question. Hey, Miss Kaur, that's a cute name. Amit, you don't read it? I love your honesty, people. Those who are saying no and those who are saying that I'll read question by question, it's a strong suggestion for you. Before you start your exam, the first thing that you have to do is reading the question paper. After this all how to study, after this all, the books and all of that. Once you enter the exam, remember you just have 3 hours to showcase whatever you have prepared in the entire year. Do you agree with this statement? You have been preparing for this exam from past 1 year and you just have 3 hours to showcase that in case of science. Yes or no? So how careful should you be about these 3 hours? You should be very, very cautious about every single step that you take, right? And the first and most important step is reading the question paper. And reading the question paper is not just like reading it like a newspaper. Take a pencil, read word to word, line to line. Every single word should be read. Don't even ignore is, was, and no. Don't ignore anything. Have a clear and calm, peaceful mind. Read the question paper twice with a pencil in your hand. Read each and every word carefully and pick the questions which you're super confident in. There are some questions, right, that we looking at the question will be very sure that yes, I can drop this question. Pick up those questions first. Okay, fine. After reading twice, you will have a clear idea about what kind of questions are there and which question should you choose answering with. I had many students, actually I even now have many students who are still confused about what should I start the exam with, like 1 markers, 2 markers, 3 markers, 5 markers, or should I do it like physics, chemistry, bio, or maybe vice versa. How do you think you should start your answer sheet? How do you think you should start? You tell me. Any ideas? You must have planned, right? You must have went through so many board examinations, I mean pre-board examinations, practice exams, mock test and all of that. You tell me, what is your plan of writing exam? Start with bio, physics, chemistry, start with 1 markers. Look at that, 5 markers. Okay, 5 markers first. Nice. Many of you are suggesting 5 markers first, is it? That's amazing. But can I tell you something? Now, okay, it's according to you that it has to be from 5 markers or 3 markers or whatever markers. But I'll tell you something as an evaluator. Okay, say if I am evaluating your CBSE paper and I'm looking at the paper, I don't care if you have started with bio, physics or chemistry, and I don't care if you have jumbled the order. Then what matters? What matters is you being able to project your answers in the crisp, to the point and a very valid manner. Let it be a 1 marker, 2 marker, whatever marker. I want the clear-cut answers for every question. So you got to start with those questions which you are extremely confident at, which you feel that you can present in a super duper manner, yeah, without mistakes and without confusions and all of that. And also remember, you don't change the question numbers that are given in the in the question paper. Don't give your own question numbers. You know why? Are you writing questions in your answer sheet? You are not, right? So if I'm an evaluator, the question number is the only way that I can find out which question answer have you given. Correct? So if you are now changing the question number, then you will be in loss. Correct? So you can start the paper in any way of your choice. I suggest you start it with the questions which you are very confident presenting. But make sure you are very clearly mentioning the question numbers or also section numbers. Okay? Done? Fine. You're writing your answers. That's really great. Fine then. How kind of handwriting should be there? What kind of ink should you use? Should you use those colors and all of that? Many of you know this already. Make sure you're not using multiple color pens inside. Start your exam with one color, continue the same. Don't change too many pens. It spoils your presentation. You know, the 3 R's, the most important key after the quality of your answers, the most important key element is your presentation skill. You have a paper in front of you which is super neatly presented, but less questions answered, and you have a paper in front of you, all questions answered, and it's messed up. Which looks presentable? Obviously the first one, isn't it? Yeah. And somebody is talking about handwriting. It's okay, dear. It's not only about handwriting, but it is also about how do we present. Like, for example, the ones with bigger handwriting, the ones with that, I won't say bad, the ones with some kind of distorted handwriting. Make sure you maintain enough gaps between the lines. Make sure you reduce the font size. Don't write too big. Okay? Reduce the font size. Maintain enough spaces between the words and also between the lines. That's enough. That gives you a clarity in the legibility to the paper. Done? So, your presentation is extremely important. Don't use too many different pens. Don't use those highlighters and all of that. Whiteners. No, not necessary. Yeah? Just one thing. Make sure your handwriting is legible. Second thing, have a pencil, underline every key point. What is every key point? Don't underline all the answer, okay, because every answer is key point. In every answer, you will have that one term. For example, say, I ask you, what is tetravalency? Tetravalency, okay, I'll give you one more better version of question, yeah. Define tetravalency and give one example of an element which exhibits tetravalency. So when you're defining tetravalency, underline the word 4 electrons. Underline the word combining capacity 4. Don't underline the entire definition. That exact key point which is needed, you can sense it, right? Underline that. And in example, underline carbon or silicon, right? Are you getting my point? You have to underline the key point in every question. You know why? Again, me being an evaluator, I get to evaluate so many papers every day. So I will not be reading E's, was and everything. I want to pace up my correction, right? So when you are underlining those keywords, then what happens? They are highlighted to me and I will get to know, yes, this answer has the required keywords, and it makes my job easy and it increases your scope of acquiring super marks. Yeah. So, one, your presentation of the paper, the neat look is needed. Second one, underline every key point. Okay. Point number 3 about presentation skills. How many of you write long paragraphs in chemistry? How many of you like long paragraphs? Do you? Okay. It's not a problem if you are writing paragraphs, but then a suggestion here again, point-wise written answers are well exposed and well highlighted when we compare it with long paragraphs. Okay, so whatever question you are answering, make sure you put it in point-wise manner. Say you are answering an activity-based question. The question is, explain an activity to prove that hydrated copper sulfate can be anhydrated and this is reversible. Aim, this is to do so and so. Apparatus and chemicals, you need these things and these things. 3. Procedure. In procedure, first step, take the boiling tube, a dry one, followed by add copper sulfate, followed by heat it on Bunsen burner. In this way, write in a point-wise manner, and if possible, put those side headings like aim, apparatus, procedure, conclusion. How amazing it looks. Yeah, you'll get like fullest marks. Yes, because I get to know that you have written everything that's needed. In spite of that no side headings and no, what to say, point wise, you have written all together as one paragraph, such huge paragraph. Now I have to search for those key points. I have to analyze and I have to understand where is apparatus, where is procedure, what is conclusion and everything, right? So what happens in that way? In that way, your scope of getting full marks in every question decreases, reduces to some level, right? So ultimately, conclusion of this presentation is make your answer sheet presentable by maintaining proper legible handwriting, highlighting key points, putting the right question numbers and highlighting the question numbers. Make sure your question numbers are in margin. You know that, right? But very some students will write it inside the margin. It has to be outside the margin. Followed by point-wise answers. And one final point that I want to mention here is, please do make sure that your point-wise answers or whatever answers that you're writing, if there is an equation relevant, make sure you write the equation. If there is a diagram relevant, make sure you write the diagram. I mean, you draw the diagram and label it. And whenever you ought to draw the diagram, draw it with a pencil. Don't scribble with a pen. Draw it roughly is fine, but draw it with pencil and label it. Okay, done. So any question or any question which is consisting of a relevant equation or diagram contains marks. So please don't miss on your marks over there. Done. Moving on, the third part, cross verification. But before I could come to this cross verification, I was looking at some of your questions. Yeah. So those questions were like, what should be the speed of handwriting? Can I use cursive handwriting? And all of that. You can write cursive. It's not at all a problem. You can write cursive, but only one point is make sure it is legible. And second one, speed of handwriting. Yeah, that's what you have to practice on. You know why? I told you already. To showcase your knowledge that you have acquired in the entire year, you have 3 hours. Yeah. And only the ones who utilize these 3 hours to the best level get out of out. Yes. So please do make sure you work on your speed of writing the answers. And that comes when you write and practice sample papers, mock test, pre-board exams and all of that. Done. And your speed should be in such a way that you should be able to retain at least 5 minutes. At the end of your answer sheet, you should be able to retain at least 5 minutes for cross verification. What is cross verification? We all write answers, and when the question papers are especially easy, we're super excited, we'll write it off and we'll be very overconfident. After coming out of the examination hall, we'll remember that we missed writing something, or maybe we have miswritten something. Maybe we didn't balance an equation properly. Has it ever happened with you? Has it ever happened with you that you have come out of the examination hall and you got to know this has happened? You made a mistake. Yeah? It happens. It happens with 50% of students, correct? You know what is the reason behind that? That's a human tendency of being a little excited psychologically when you have to give a test or a performance or whatever. So to avoid those silly mistakes that we commit due to that excitement, this cross verification is crucial. What should you do in this cross verification? 1, please check your question numbers. Many times it happens that we miswrite the question numbers. Not wantedly, but then by mistake, right? Nobody does it wantedly, of course. Point number 2, also verify if you have answered all the parts in the question. Have you ever noticed those 5 markers of CBSE? There will be some 3-4 parts of the question that are given. Have you noticed? They will give you a paragraph and there will be 5 points that you have to answer. It's a 5 marker. 3 mark questions, there will be 3 questions asked. Sometimes, again out of excitement, we forget answering one part. We lose 1 mark over there, isn't it? Yeah? Yes, somebody missed centum because of it. It is Sahitya Murthy. You relate it to very well. So, it means you have to verify if you have answered everything that's asked in the question paper. Every question and every part of the question, and have you added all that info that you wanted to and that has been asked, diagram, equation, labeling and anything that's been asked. These 2 steps are very important. Question numbers and verifying if you have answered everything and everything asked and needed. Point number 3, check if you want to add something extra. Maybe if you wanted to do some showcasing for the diagrams, like labeling the diagrams, framing the diagrams and everything. If you have time for this cross verification, you can avoid all those silly mistakes that usually a student makes. But being able to give this cross verification time is a challenge. And I'm sure many students will write the exam to such an extent that the invigilator forces the student to give the paper because it's time. Anybody of that category, invigilator will be standing right in front of you and saying that it's over, time is up and give away your paper. Otherwise, I'm leaving the hall. Yeah. Anytime it happened with you, that's a bad sign. If you are in that situation, it clearly means that you have to seriously work on your handwriting speed right now. Yeah, because you can't take that chance in the board exam. Why? Because you just have 3 hours. Whatever you write in the 3 hours, that's what it is all. Correct? So you would have to be very careful. Done. And on average, for every 1 mark, you should be spending 2 minutes in CBSE paper. So somebody asked me that for 1 mark, 2 minutes. Done. This is all about what you have to do in exam. But then a few points, like as a bonus tip, a few points that I want to add, which have to be implemented before you could go to the exam. You know, just before a week of exam or 4 or 5 days of exam. Many of us do have a different study periods, right? Some of us study early in the morning. We wake up at 4 a.m. study. Some of us study till 4 a.m. and sleep at 4 a.m. right? Anybody who is nocturnal and study late in the night and wake up a little late in the morning again? Anybody who is nocturnal? Yes, I knew this. There are many students of that category, right? Not only few, there are many students. So it's good. And especially studying at any time of your choice is pretty good. But then do remember, if you're being awake till late night during your exams, there is a huge possibility of health disturbances. And there is a huge possibility that your brain will not be completely functional the morning of the exam. You know, the brain will be a little inactive and passive because you wake up a little late. And also possibility of the side effects like dizziness and all of that. Why to take a chance? So train yourselves at least 1 week before exam to have a proper lifestyle. Sleep at particular time, wake up at particular time, eat at particular time. Make sure that your health is perfect. Yeah, right. And the second thing that is again additional is when you're studying, when you're preparing, you know, when you're thinking of your board exams, please make sure that you are confident enough. Just trust yourselves that you can do. Okay, don't be thinking that what if I don't do well, what if I forget this, leave all those what ifs. Work your best. You are the best for you, right? So give your best. Yeah, stop having those all doubts and give your best. That's what is most needed. Done. So if you can implement all these tips together, you can rock your science exam, and especially chemistry, you're not going to lose even a single mark. Yes. Yeah. And people who are feeling that yes, I can do it and I can get out of out, say yes. Can you get out of out in science? Are you confident? Do you trust yourselves? Yeah. Can you prepare to that extremity now, starting from now, at least to get out of out? Yes. See, Shashwat can get, Shivam can get, everybody. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Awesome. And now, these are all the tips that I wanted to give. Now you ask me, what do you want to know? What do you want to know more about your examination preparation? Some of you were talking about blueprint. Arey guys, how many videos I have done for blueprint, most important topics, important questions, also time management. So many videos were done. They're all there in YouTube. You can just search them. You'll get a lot of information. And there were some videos in the description of which I also have attached past 10 years solved question papers of maths and science both. Yeah, and there were some videos where I gave NCERT exemplar PDF. Yes, there were some other videos where I gave important questions chapter wise, like metals and non-metals ka important questions were given. Correct? Yes. So the ones who are talking about these important questions from chemistry, it's already given. It's all there in the YouTube videos. Yeah. Right. Now, I think Anurag, that answers your question about previous year papers. Moving on, equation presentation, Sahitya. Okay, equations, coming to how to write equations in board exams. Many of us have doubts again. Should I balance the equation or should I write the physical states? Make sure you write the balanced equations as far as you can. Yeah, and also write the physical states. But even if you miss physical state, it is somehow okay. But you know what you shouldn't miss? The reaction conditions. The things that you write on the arrow mark, like if you're talking about thermal decomposition, put the delta on the arrow mark. Say you're talking about hydrogenation or addition reactions of alkenes in carbon and its compounds. You write that on arrow mark, right? You use nickel and then you will use hydrogen Ni, H2. Remember, the reaction conditions like temperature, pressure, catalyst or reagent, anything Don't miss on it. If you're missing that, you'll lose on marks. Okay, somehow if you're missing physical state, that is adjustable, that is okay, but don't miss on reaction conditions at all. Yeah. And also one more mistake that usually students do is, for example, they have to write the product between zinc and H2SO4. The product has to be ZnSO4 and H2, right? So they'll write it as Zn2SO4. You know, that missing of valency, miswriting the chemical formulae. Please don't do that also. That also makes you lose your marks. So not writing physical state, you will not get, will not make you lose your marks, but not writing reaction conditions and missing on the valency, writing the false chemical formulae will make you lose your marks, right? So make sure you work on those two as far as it is concerned with equations. And there are also some videos which will help you to remember equations easily. Still, they are in the Vedantu channel of YouTube. Please make sure you watch all of them. Make use of the free resources. Diagrams of experiments and presentation. 1. It has to be in pencil. You know, if you draw it in pen, it just takes away your impression. It has to be in pencil. 2. It has to be labeled. If you are not labeling it, you are going to lose your marks again. Pencil, label, fine. You don't need to be very artistic and sketch the diagrams very beautifully. So okay, average diagram will work. Okay, so don't invest a lot of time in sketching those ones. Done. Moving on. I always do this balancing mistake. Array, that's common problem, Kashish. But then yeah, you have to work on it, and only way is to practice. I'll also tell you something to get rid of that problems with equations, chemical equations. This is what I do usually with my exam preparation students at Vedantu. By the way, there is an exam preparation course launched by Vedantu. There you go with the details on the screen. So in these batches, what I usually do is, just to get my students more confidence about chemical equations, I prepared a doc of all chemical equations in CBSE chemistry syllabus. Okay. And now these chemical equations are given to them and they will practice balancing on these chemical equations. They will be learning the same chemical equations. They learn how to write products using the same chemical equations. So it becomes more and more familiar. You can also use this tactic. This is very, very, very useful to get familiar and confident in balancing and in all the chemical equations, right? Done? How to write the practical answers properly? Parag, that's a question with a huge scope, but I'll give you one tip, okay, for everybody. In science paper, I'm sure everybody knows there are 12 marks related to practical based questions, okay. So these 12 marks are related to bio, physics and chemistry. So if you take 4 and 4 and 4 for all three branches of science, 4 marks for chemistry. We expect 2 marks questions. And these practical based questions are the ones which will literally ask you for observations. What are observations? Observations are what you see when this reaction is happening in front of you. For example, if I talk about what is the observation when what is the observation when zinc is reacting with H2SO4? What is the observation? You tell me. Zinc with dilute H2SO4. What is the observation? Observation. Hydrogen gas formation, right? This is the mistake. Do you see hydrogen gas being formed? Do you know it is hydrogen? You don't, right? What do you observe there? You observe liberation of bubbles, right? Bubbles of a gas are observed. And later when these bubbles are checked with a burning matchstick, that's when you get to observe that pop sound and you conclude that it is hydrogen. There is a huge difference between observation and formation. Students tend to write formation like, okay, in this reaction ZnSO4 is formed, H2 is formed. It is formed. Did you see ZnSO4 being formed? We never know, right? It is all about what you see. In this, what all words you can include is the liberation of gases, if it is hydrogen bubbles, if it is NO2 reddish brown fumes, chlorine greenish yellow fumes or gases, if it is CO2 brisk effervescence, right? If it is precipitate, color. If it is residue, color. Yeah, make sure you use them. That's what is needed. Okay, so that is one tip that I'll give for practical based examination questions, sorry, practical based questions. Guys, there is a link that's posted into the chat box right now. You can please click onto the link if you want to know more and more about exam preparation course launched by Vedantu for helping the most genuine students to rock their all exams of maths and science. And one more thing, this exam preparation course is also, it is also coming with 2 years JEE long-term course for the serious aspirants of JEE. Yeah. For more details, you can please click on the link that's there in the chat box. It will redirect you to the respective page. I know you will look at this figure and say, is this so high? Let me tell you, if you talk about JEE 2 years preparation in any reputed organization in India, it will cost you around 3 to 4 lakhs. Literally 3 to 4 lakhs. And Vedantu's passion to get education accessible to all interesting and genuine students is giving you at this price. Yeah, so if you're enrolling in the limited period, you will be able to apply this offer of 1 lakh rupees for the complete 2 years and exam preparation. Yeah, now moving on with more questions. Sahitya, I think I missed your question there. Would you mind reposting it once more? And guys, I finally repeat, you can also pick up, okay, not finally repeat, you can also pick up only exam preparation, not 2-year JEE, or you may choose to pick up exam preparation and 2-year JEE, both of them together. And these are the teachers who are going to help you rock in your exams. You can look at their profiles, they're just awesome. Most of you know them, right? Their videos are already there in YouTube and you know how amazing they are, correct? Well, some more details about this course can be identified by clicking on this enroll now button. It will take you to the timetable page, it will take you to the schedule, etc, etc. Yes, done. That's great guys, that's great. Okay, fine. Let me tell you something. Let me remind you something. Please do watch all of the videos present on Vedantu YouTube class 10 channel. They are super amazing and they are very helpful to you. And they'll answer most of your questions. And even after this session, you have any questions and you want to communicate to me, the best way, comment in the comment section after this video. Okay, done. So I tried clarifying most of your doubts, but then I'm sure many of the doubts are left behind. So please let me know those all doubts in the comment section and I would love to help you all out. Yeah. And by the way, this course is starting very soon. I'll also share the date with you. It is started on 28 Jan, but there is a new batch starting from next Monday. Okay. So I would love to see you all over there and I'll wait for your doubts in the comment section of this video. Done? Right guys, all the very best everybody. Work seriously hard so that you don't regret later. You just have one chance to prove yourselves. Yeah, done. All the very best everybody and I'll see you all in the comment section in a while. Done. Bye everyone. Good night and good luck for your exams.